Welcome back, everyone, to PommyInOz. Hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're well on our way to 10k, and it's been a great year. Let's make 2023 the better one, and we're back with them 3-a-week videos. And I thought usually we do this off camera and make sure we do a bit of research, and I do one of these by gut and then with a little bit of research with some analytics so I can make all the videos consistent. I thought it'd be fun if we played with Squibble, but in real time. So we're going to do that, and we're going to bear in mind that the average AFL winning margin over the last 2 years has been 27 points. We're going to work on that system. So everyone we think is going to win, obviously we're not going to have any draws. We're going to have a little bit of a theory and see what the ladder looks like. So let's get straight stuck into this, and you can do that, www.squibble.com. You can have a go yourself. So let's have a look then. Here we are. So I've got a feeling here that Carlton are going to drop this one. So I'm going to be totally honest. I think Geelong will win this one. North Melbourne will win that one. At the AO, I'm going to predict that. Do I? At the AO. Oh, no, Brisbane. This will be a ripping game. Gold Coast versus Sydney. Sydney will start. GWS Sydney at the showground. It's tough to call, but we're going to go with home advantage. I reckon Hawthorn will win this one. St Kilda versus Fremantle. I think St Kilda will start. So that is what the table will look like at round one. So here we go. The second, I hate to say it, I just don't see it. I do think Carlton are going to start 0-2. I've been consistent with that. So, Brisbane versus the Gabba. I think Brisbane will win that one. Collingwood versus Port. I think Collingwood will win that. Adelaide, Richmond. I think Richmond will win that one. The Doggies will win this one. Fremantle, North. Fremantle should win that one. Sydney at the SCG. It's going to be a good game. Gold Coast will win this. Gold Coast will start the GWS will win this. So there we are, round two. That's what we're looking at the moment. Geelong at the top. GWS, the surprise. Obviously, do you know what I mean? My team down the bottom. Some teams 1 for 1. This one here, though, I think Brisbane will win. I think Richmond will win this one. Hawthorn will start very well with a 2-1. This is where Carlton will start coming in now. The fixture's getting easy. Ross, the boss, will get his first win. I'm going to tip a shock here. I reckon Adelaide will sneak that one. Geelong will win that one. So round 3, it's starting to hot up. This will be a really good one, but I think Melbourne will put it to the sword. So remember, we're doing the 27 points. Brisbane at the Gabba. Carlton, I hope they win by more than 27 points, but that gets us on the precipice of the 8. Fremantle versus Adelaide. I just feel like Adelaide are a different kettle of fish, and I'm quite hot and bullish on Adelaide this year. I reckon the Doggies will win this one. St Kilda at the Docklands. It's going to be a tough one, isn't it? But we'll go Saints. Sydney will win this. At the Docklands, I reckon that Essendon. Well, I think Essendon will get a grindy win. It would be a grindy win, but we are making the rule to try and keep it average. Hawthorn always are tough when they play Geelong, but I think Carlton will win this one, and we'll get to round 8 and we'll just have a recap. Fremantle, Gold Coast. Fremantle will win that one. At the AO, remember, so we're at showtime, so we'll have a look at this one at the end. Brisbane should win that one, even though it's away. I reckon home advantage for Port's going to help them out. Big style, they'll win that one. Geelong, Eagles, Geelong will win that one. And, see, I won't back against them. You know what? Away from home, I reckon grindy win. I hate doing it. So there we are. So round 6 has finished. And there we are. We have Geelong, Lions, Sydney, Fremantle, Melbourne, Carlton, Hawthorn, Richmond. It's going to be an interesting one how we go. But then we go over to Perth. Fremantle versus the Dogs. I think that there will be a little bit of a blip at some point for some of these teams, especially with the travel involved. You would imagine Brisbane would win this one. This is quite exciting, this. Cardinia Park. The rematch. You'd fancy that. At York Park, so it is in away from home. Carlton will win that. Yeah, Gold Coast. Gold Coast. Richmond versus Melbourne. You know what? Prime time. Prime time, baby. You'd imagine the Pies will beat that. Port versus... You know what? I'm going to tip a shock here. I think Port will start getting their act together mid-season. Mid-season. What have I missed? A team has played... Oh, it's... Okay, cool. Brisbane... I reckon Fremantle will do the job there. Sydney will win that one. Doggies versus... You know what? I am quite hot on the Hawks, but I think they'll start to slide with the younger side. Melbourne will win that. Carlton will win that. Look at Carlton here. We'll shoot right up. You've got to love it. Essendon versus that. They'll slip one, Geelong. Is this the one they slip? Nah. Richmond versus Gold Coast at the Dockers. I reckon Adelaide will win that. Okay, well, we'll be conservative. Richmond. This is good fun, this. Yeah, honestly, get this at home. See what you think. Let me know. This is really tough, isn't it? Geelong versus Adelaide. Where do you reckon Geelong will slip up? Because they won't keep winning. I'm going to tip here Gold Coast surprise. Gold Coast surprise. GWS at the Manuka. Oh, I reckon at the Manuka, they're solid. Perth Stadium, Fremantle will win. Port versus Essendon. Port will win that. At the G. I reckon Sydney are going to be good this year. North Melbourne, I reckon that's one of North's wins. I reckon this is where Geelong lose. And this will be a good one, but they won't lose every game. They won't lose every game. Sydney versus Fremantle at the SCG. That should be a ripper, shouldn't it, that one? Round 9. Port slide, just climbing up that ladder. Hawthorn versus Melbourne. Melbourne will win that. Melbourne will win that. Tell you what, this ladder's heating up, isn't it? Brisbane. Though, Brisbane will win that. Carlton versus the Doggies. I reckon, honestly, Carlton will win that. They always match up well with them. This will be an interesting one. At the AO, oh, you've got to tip them. Collingwood will win that. This will be there, look, where Port start to surprise. Sydney versus North. You've got to back them in. Doggies versus Adelaide. Doggies will win that. Perth Stadium. We'll go with Freo. Lions will win that one. And at the end of this round, we'll just have a bit of a recap. You know what? I'm going to... Do I tip it? Nah, Richmond will win that. And Hawthorn should win that. And there we are. That was the previous tip. Oh, no, here we are. So we are Carlton. Carlton will beat Pies. They won't do it twice. We'll have St Kilda surprising. So going into round 11, here we are. We've got Brisbane, Sydney, Richmond, Geelong, Carlton, Freo, Port, Melbourne. So that's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? I reckon Carlton's run ends there, though. And I reckon St Kilda caused the shock here. And this will be a great game because I reckon Melbourne will start to build their list, build their season where they learnt from last year. This will be an interesting one, but I reckon the Dogs will win that one. I really do think that they're going to win 1 or 2 games, the Eagles, this year. I think Richmond will win that one at the G. And obviously Pies will win that one. This will be an interesting one, because Brisbane will be on top, but I reckon Adelaide in that mid-season will start to get some mid-season blues. I think this is going to be a tough one for Carlton. I do think Melbourne will win that one. This one here, this is going to be a really interesting game, but I think Port will win. We're talking about shocks. I reckon the Eagles will get, like I say, 2 or 3 wins, and it'll be coming at them weird times. I reckon Geelong will get back on the winners' podium here. We tipped Adelaide to beat there. We do think that's happened. Richmond. Will Richmond get the job done? I think they will. So this will be here. This will be a great little battle, and I do think The Clarks and Melbourne will win that one. You'd expect Sydney to win that. Port versus the Doggies. This is a really interesting one, isn't it? At the Docklands, yep, Doggies will win that one. Hawks versus Brisbane. Brisbane flying, but Hawks got their tail between their legs. I do think Brisbane will usurp that one. Adelaide should win that one. And then Freo will win that one. Ooh, North versus GWS. Both teams that I don't fancy, and I think that North will get up. Carlton will win this one. And we'll have a look at the end of round 13 what the table looks like. There we are. So Adelaide sneaking into the 8 by round 13 stage. Brisbane top. It's going to be interesting because I do think that 3 there, they're the big 3. But I think this is where it starts to fall off. Port will win that one. And I reckon Sydney will shock that one there. And this will be that really interesting. I think GWS, their season's going to be that kind of season where they just irritate teams. At the G, primetime Richmond versus Saints. Got a feeling that Ross will start to surprise at certain games. Carlton should win that one. You'd imagine Dogs will win that one. This will be a battle, isn't it? Cardinia Park, though, so you've got to give advantage to them. And then St Kilda versus Brisbane will be an interesting one, won't it? I don't think the Brisbane play too bad at the Docklands, so I think that'll be all right for them. Sydney should win that one. You'd imagine Fremantle will fancy themselves. Collingwood should win that counter. I'm going to back Hawks here. Do I? Yeah, I reckon Hawks will sneak there. Brisbane at the Gabba. I reckon Essendon will get their second win. Collingwood should win that. This will be a tough game, but I think Carlton will sneak it. I reckon this is where Geelong, I reckon just with their list management, they'll start to hit their peak here. This will be an interesting battle, but I do think Fremantle are destined for great things. I'm going to tip a shock here. I'm going to tip that North get in there. At Traeger Park, this could be an interesting one, couldn't it? But I do think Melbourne will win. Saints will get the Onions here. Oof. Tell you what, some of these ties around this time are exciting, aren't they? I reckon Essendon will start to sneak some cheap wins. Geelong will win there. At the showground, we'll go GWS. Richmond, Sydney, this will be a ripper, won't it? I reckon Richmond will win. They'll be just too powerful. Melbourne will win that one. I'll back in the Pies there because I think that the depth in the Doggies is going to be exposed towards the end of the year. Port Adelaide, Gold Coast. I feel like Gold Coast aren't that bad. Can Carlton's winning run? I'm going to back them in. At the Docklands, Carlton will win that one. Collingwood will win at the G. Geelong, Essendon. They're in a world of pain. I reckon Gold Coast will win that one. I reckon Melbourne will win that one at home. North will sneak the win there, I reckon. Sydney at the SCG, too good. Adelaide versus GWS. That's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? At the AO, different kettle of fish, aren't they? Richmond there, they sneak into 5th. Brisbane, Geelong at the Gabba. I think this is where Geelong now start to show their class. Carlton would fancy themselves there. Essendon, Doggies. It's got to be the Dogs, hasn't it? I reckon the Gold Coast will have a late season. I reckon that they'll start to hit a bit of the straps. Melbourne are a tough one, aren't they? You know what? Here, this is going to be a masterclass from Clarko. St Kilda should win that one. I'm going to tip an away win as well for Collingwood here. Fremantle, Sydney at Perth. We'll go with Fremantle. Collingwood, Carlton. I reckon they'll break even. I hate to do it. I reckon they'll break even. I reckon it'll be 1-1 this year. Essendon, Sydney. Sydney should be flying at this point. This will be a great game. Can Fremantle do it? I don't know. Gold Coast, Brisbane. I'm going to tip them for the shock here. Because there's usually a shock, isn't there, by round 20. I reckon St Kilda, by this stage, the young legs of Hawthorn should be a little bit tired. Richmond should win that one. Doggies will win that one. AO. Port versus Adelaide. I reckon Port will win that one. We're going to tip Eagles to get their couple of wins here. Port versus Geelong. I reckon Geelong seal it here. The Showground, Sydney Showground, GWS Sydney. I reckon Sydney will win that one. This is going to be exciting, isn't it? This will be a huge battle. I reckon Collingwood will do enough. Not Melbourne should win this one. Carlton will win this one. This is exciting, isn't it? Richmond versus, I reckon the Doggies. I reckon the Docklands, the Doggies. Adelaide at the AR. We'll go Brisbane here. We'll go Melbourne. We'll be strict. This is so tight. I haven't looked at the ladder for a while. Geelong will seal it. We've got them. North at the Docklands. They'll finish it off. Richmond. Sydney. Tell you what, I'm going to look at the end of this round. Going to the last round, I'll have a look. Port. Yeah, Port. Hey, Fremantle will win that. And there we are, into round 23. So going into the last week of the ladder, this is quite exciting, isn't it? Geelong 18 wins first, Sydney second, Melbourne third, Lions fourth, Richmond fifth, Carlton sixth, Collingwood seventh, Doggies eighth. So I reckon Brisbane, playing for the home finals, will win. Carlton will beat Gold Coast. GWS Essendon. GWS will win that one. Melbourne versus Hawthorn. Melbourne will win that one. Richmond will win that one. St Kilda, Geelong. You know what? We'll tip a shot. We'll say they've rested players. Doggies, West Coast. They should win that one. Adelaide versus Sydney. Sydney. Port, Fremantle. We'll go Fremantle. Brisbane, St Kilda. Oh, Brisbane will win that one. Oh, wait, there's another round, isn't there? Carlton will win that one. Collingwood will win that one. Geelong. Yeah, Geelong will win that. I'll go Hawthorn will win it. Ooh. North, Gold Coast. We'll go Gold Coast. Sydney, Melbourne. We'll go Melbourne. Port, Richmond. At the Adelaide. Port. We'll finish with Adelaide. There it is. So there is the 8. Geelong first. Melbourne second. Brisbane third. Sydney fourth. Carlton fifth. Richmond sixth. Collingwood seventh. And Dogs 8th. 3-0 and Port just missing out. 3-0 percentage. So that would then have the finals. So Geelong, Sydney. Carlton Dogs will say win that one. Richmond Pies will tick a shot. Pies will win that one. Melbourne versus Brisbane. I reckon Brisbane's ability at bringing teams in will do it. Then Carlton will say will beat Sydney in the semi, which would be Melbourne versus Pies. We'll say Melbourne. Geelong. I'll be honest, I don't think Carlton. Oh, against Brisbane, we could do. You know what? I'm doing it. There you are. Geelong Carlton final. Look at that. We've done it. So it'd be hard to tip past them, wouldn't it? It'd be hard to tip past them. But that is it. Have a go on Squiggle, right? Get on there. We've done that real time, so not much thought's gone in. I don't think that's far off. Obviously, we've had a bit of fun in the finals, but I think that's good. Let me know how you get on. Post your results in the comments. Tag me on Twitter. Until next time, everyone, look after yourself. I'll see you Friday. God bless. Pop.